everybody has something. We all look perfect on Instagram and YouTube, and even when we're going to meetings, you dress up and you try to put this perfect face on, but
Right.
meanwhile, like, we're all suffering with something. And so we're all human. And that's what I think, especially in an Instagram environment where everybody's trying to front and be perfect and have their cars and look amazing, meanwhile they hate their life. You're showing that, hey, everybody has something that they're dealing with.
Yesterday we talked about, like, your one word, my one word is light.
Yeah.
And it came from darkness, which is kind of like your anti-one word. And we talked about how it was bullying, but when I went back and actually thought about it, it's more the loss of hope.
Okay.
Because it enveloped bullying, depression, anxiety, anger, all those different emotions. There wasn't one specific one. It was just the loss of hope, thinking that you don't have hope in the world. And with my little kind of entrepreneur meeting that I'm having, Light It Up, I want entrepreneurs to feel that hope, to be able to come, figure out their why, and then initiate it to where they actually take action on it, and so they can actually get to their dreams and what their potential is. I don't know how. I guess right now I'm like financially struggling. I want to get to the point to where I can not really think about finances. Not that I don't have to deal with them, but just like it's not something that's totally enveloped in my mind, and I'm constantly thinking about it. So how do I make a business with something that I just want to go out and help individuals and help mostly like young adults and teenagers to where they can have that hope and just be kind of financially free with it.
Great. So making money is about providing value. And the more value you provide, the more money you're going to make.
Right.
So it's figuring out how can you provide value, likely at scale, because a lot of the teenagers don't have money to pay for coaching.
And sometimes young adults too.
For sure. Like just getting started, they're probably not going to drop, $1,000 a week on coaching for you.
Right,
They don't
yeah.
have the money. So now you're looking at a scale version. So how do I get my message to reach millions of people? And you make money from advertising and book deals and that kind of stuff. So the question becomes, how can you bring value to people so that you can show them the light? So it comes from whatever your darkest moment was and how you got out of it. So if you're going of hope, what was the moment you felt the least hope in your life?
Just when I feel like no one was there for me. And it wasn't just like something that happened instantly. It was just gradually, like my friends started to bully me, and I just felt like I didn't have anyone around me. And then my parents would start to just not like communicate with me the way I felt they should have.
Did you tell them about the bullying?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
Because I love my parents now, and I have that connection now. But back then, I didn't, and I didn't have anyone to rely on.
And what age are you talking about?
I'm talking about 13, 14.
Okay.
And it happened until probably about 16. When I hit 16, and I built up walls against my heart. And it was just to block everyone out. I didn't want to feel like this hatred and anger anymore. I just wanted to be like, yeah, you guys do what you do. I'm just going to do whatever. And trust was at an all-time low. And then this wonderful person came into my life, a girlfriend back in high school, and then she just like knocked down those barriers to where I can trust her.
So what did she do that would knock down the barrier for you?
She listened and was just there. We would just talk back and forth to each other about like things that were going in through our lives, which is a really hard topic. It didn't happen for several months, but then when we started getting into it, it was a more deeper connection. And when she had that kind of one-on-one emotional conversation with me, I started to be able to trust a little more. And that's where the hope really came into it. Because when I could trust her, I'm just like, okay, maybe there isn't that bad of people in this world. And so then I opened up to my siblings, and I opened up to my parents. And now I'm this person who just, shadow of doubt, I'll trust anyone until they give me a reason not to trust them. And that came from just one single person. And I want to be that single person for other people. I want them to feel that hope. All those, like anyone who is struggling with depression, anger, who has a trust issue, I just want them back. I want them back in this world. I want them to just like own it. I want to see them rise. And I don't know how to do that.
Well, I love it, man. You got a big heart too, which is obvious and
Thanks.
it's amazing. So listening was the first step. What's the next step?
Just
It's like your girlfriend listening to you was the first step to you coming out of your shell and feeling a little bit of hope.
right.
Then what? What did you do next? Like you're watching videos, you're hardcore into.
We were just hanging out with each other, and so I was just out of my mind, I guess. So we would just hang out with each other, and so I wasn't in my mind saying, "Hey, people hate you. People don't like you. You're worthless."
Okay.
And so I was out of my mind and getting a positivity from her, and then that just kept leading.
Okay.
And that's why I absolutely love positivity. I always look at the glass half full.
You've also went down. I mean, I met your girlfriend last night. You've gone down this path of personal development, watching videos and watching my channel, all that, and she didn't really know much about the channel.
She's my wife. This
Right.
is a different girl.
Oh, okay.
Back in high school.
Got it.
So-
okay, different person. Great.
Yeah.
That's awkward. Super awkward.
You're good.
But still, that of even if you look at your ex-girlfriend, then you've gone down this path. You still went off and learned more. Like you've invested into yourself to be around more people, to learn more, to digest content, to watch videos, to come to events like you did last night at mine. So there's the very starting point of just listening. And then there's the point about giving people a space where they can just be themselves and forget about judgment and shut off the negativity in their world. Great. But then at some point there's also the learning and getting better and self-improvement and having ambitions.
Right.
So like what was the next step? How did you get down that path?
Surrounded myself with people who were just positive, and then that just little step by step helped me to open my mind to, let's say, I'm trying to think back when I was 16. It helped me open my mind to say school doesn't really suck. It's actually kind of cool when friends are around, which opened my mind to be like, wow, learning is actually a really cool thing, which led me to read a bunch of books, which led me, and it was just back and forth until the person I am right now.
I think of it as a 3-step process for you, for how you got out of your pain, right? So you were hopeless. There was no hope. You're being bullied. You're shut off. You're making it hard on yourself by not sharing with people. You just shut down. There's no hope. One person is willing to listen to you, and it starts a positive trend, right? Your ex-girlfriend, she's willing to listen to you. Just that is already creating some hope for you. Great. Then it's not just talking about problems and listening, but being able to do something that you get to be free and have fun and not just think about the negativity that there is all around you. And then the third step is being able to learn and improve yourself, whether that's through books or videos or seminars or whatever.
Right.
So you see that as your process to get out of the dark and have hope, right? So the way that you got out of it is the best way you'll be able to teach others to get out of it. The way I saved my company was by modeling Bill Gates, by looking at this super successful entrepreneur, applying his strategies to my company, and now what do I do on my YouTube channel? It's mostly sharing all these successful stories.
Right.
I'm still doing it. That was 20 years ago, right? 20 years of still just keep doing it. And that's part of how I'll always continue to help. And so you take your process, and it's just 3-step process to go through. Just like AA, you have a 12-step process. This is how you get out of alcoholism, right? You got your 3-step process of how to get out of feeling like there's no hope. So if you're doing events, that's great, but it follows the process. So step 1 is just having someone to listen to. Like you're going to listen to them. Step 1 is just, I'll listen to you. I'll share. I'll listen. I won't judge you. Tell me what's on your mind. I'll listen to you. Step 2 is in giving them a space where they can just be free, be themselves, forget about what's happening in their life, to show that life isn't just all negative.
Right.
Which could be your events, right? Come out to the event, get lit up or light up or
Yeah, light it up.
light it up. Great. It's like now you're creating that event for people. And then step 3 is creating a personal development path for them that they can continue to grow and learn, develop, and get better. Whether you're sharing your favorite books, your favorite videos, your favorite podcasts, other events that are happening, you're creating a curriculum that's easy for them to continue to now go on this journey.
So going off of that, how do I find those people? I feel like the people who are around me right now, I do listen to them. Like, that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You need to listen to people. And I have that skill of listening. I have the skill of being able to take it in, analyzing it, and then being able to put back out what I feel like they need, but when they do need it. I think the best way to tell is if they start asking you a question, saying, what do I need to do? Then they're humble enough and able enough to accept the information rather than just sitting there saying, yeah, give me what you got, and if it's good or not, then I'll just do whatever.
I think, so that's step one. And it reminds me of Marilyn Manson for some reason, if you know Marilyn Manson. So he, when there was the shooting that happened, I think it was Columbine or one of the schools, this kid went in and just killed a whole bunch of people, and then he was listening to a bunch of Marilyn Manson music before going in and getting all enraged and angry, and then he went and killed a bunch of people. And then so they interviewed Marilyn Manson to say, hey, how do you feel about, like, this kid was just listening to your music and then went and killed a bunch of people. If you were there talking to him, what would you tell him? And he said, I wouldn't tell him anything. I would just listen. I would just listen to them and ask them how they're doing and what's on their mind. That was his first step.
Yeah.
Right? So just in hearing you say your message reminded me of that, and how just listening to somebody might prevent them from doing something really stupid, which could lead them to take other people's lives or take their own life. And just the conversation would prevent them from doing something crazy like that. And so if step one is just listening to people, then you become the guy who listens to people. And so even start an Instagram live show where you're listening to people. People can come on and just, even if they're blocking their face and just like, you don't see them, but they're telling you their problems. What was that thing? It reminds me of another thing of where people would write their darkest secrets on a postcard or something and mail it in somewhere.
Okay.
Did you hear about that?
I haven't.
Something like that. They would write their thing that they're afraid to tell the world and anonymously
There you go.
like mail it in, and they would take pictures and put it up on social media, and you'd see these crazy things that people had hidden in their past, but you wouldn't know who did it. And it's still like they want it. Why would they write their darkest secrets and send it off? Because they want to be heard. They have nobody to tell it to, and so you're the guy that people tell stuff to. And so whatever format works the best, whether it's here's a mailing address, send me your darkest secrets, or I'm going to do an Instagram live show, or here's a phone number, call me, and some public element to it so that it's shared, but it's not, you don't know who it is.
Right.
Unless they want to share like who it is. Maybe they're okay saying their name and what their challenges are. Mm-hmm. But I play around with a whole bunch of formats around that, so that you're helping people, but in a public way, so that other people can learn from it too, and you're just there listening. You don't have to give advice; you just have to listen. Just somebody to listen to. You don't have to know what to say. You just listen to them.
Right.
Right? It's like, why do people go to the confessional? They guess they want to be blessed and all that, but it's mostly just to get this thing off their chest, and you're the guy that people will want to come to, and so it's promoting that and figuring out what the method's going to be, whether it's write it on an email and we'll share it on Instagram, right, and block the names, or phone call that gets recorded that then you put up, and they have to know, right, like it's going to be recorded. It's not just surprise you're all over social media. But I think that's a really cool. I think it's needed. Like I think it'll be life changing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
As step number one, to just build your brand up. And you're the listener. Great, listening is just the first step. Next is you can put on these events. And that ties into your light them up.
Light it up.
Light it up, right?
It's a work in progress, but yeah.
No, whatever, great. Light it up. So it ties into your events. Now, the people who've been on your show, or who've sent in postcards, or emailed you, or DM'd you, or whatever, right? It could just be DM me your biggest secrets, and you blur out the name when you post it. That could be a huge Instagram account. And what would you want to hear if somebody sent you you go back to you were like when you were 13 and you imagine DMing somebody, because now we're doing an Instagram era instead of like when you actually were 13, and you say, I'm ashamed that I'm being bullied and I can't talk to my parents and my friends don't like me, as an example. You DM that to somebody. What's one sentence that you would want to hear back that would make you feel good?
We're here. There are people out here that want you here. Whether you be your parents, some friends, relatives, whatever it may be. But people are still here.
So if you had a standard line that you become known as that guy, is like, for example, like, I hear you, I understand you, you're not alone. That's what you send back to people. And anytime somebody DMs you, you take a screenshot, you post it, and your response of, I hear you, I understand you, you're not alone. And you start, that account would blow, I think it would blow faster than my account, right? Like, that account, and you just blur out the face so they don't know who it is.
Right.
And like I think that would blow up. I think people would really respond well to that. And people would want to watch just to see what people are posting. And then not everybody will write in.
Right.
But seeing what people go through helps them feel like they're not alone too. Even if they never share with you, they'll relate it somehow in their life to say, wow, like, he was bullied too. Like, one of my favorite parts of doing the events that you went to last night is you hear people's insecurities and you see what they're afraid of and what their biggest pains were growing up, and you realize everybody has something. We all look perfect on Instagram and YouTube, and even we're going to meetings, you dress up and you try to put this perfect face on it.
Right.
Meanwhile, like, we're all suffering with something. And so we're all human. And that's what I think, especially in an Instagram environment where everybody's trying to front and be perfect and have their cars and look amazing, meanwhile they hate their life, you're showing that, hey, everybody has something that they're dealing with.
Because I love presenting. I love public speaking. It's not something that is hard for me now. It was because in first grade I was diagnosed with dyslexia, with speaking and writing and reading. Now I'm reading 50 plus books a year. Now I love public speaking. It still gives me the butterflies, gets me excited, but I love doing it because it's for the people who are there. How do I incorporate those skills into this? The listening, the light it up, and then the program.
So you take it into the 3 steps. There's the listening, then there's the events, and then there's the growth. So in the listening, you're not a public speaker because you're listening. You're just listening. You're the guy to talk to, and you'll listen. It's not about telling them anything, because at the beginning they may not want to hear any advice. They just need somebody who's going to listen to them and feel like they're accepted, they're not alone.
Right.
So speaking won't help with anything. But you bring them into your ecosystem. Now they're a fan of you, they like what you're doing. And so now they're more willing to go to the next step, which will be creating an environment where they feel accepted and free and able to be themselves. That's where some speaking can come in. What's going to happen at this event? You're going to talk about something, you're going to dance, you're going to play games, like whatever the thing is that you do at a light it up event. Did I get it right? Light it up?
Yeah, you got it.
I got it. It's coming. There's whatever formula you want, however an event runs that you want to run. Maybe you teach people how to salsa dance. Maybe you're doing a new skill each week. Maybe it's a speaking event and networking one-on-one. Maybe you're just going to go out and have a picnic together. You're just going to do a movie night and pick a movie every week to go to. I don't know. Like, whatever you had your girlfriend. She helped you. Mm-hmm. Most of these people you're going to help, you're going to be their girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's your role. You're their girlfriend.
Right.
And so what would you want to do now, but in a group? You're the group girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. It's getting weirder as we go. Right? But what would you have liked to have when you were 16, when you met her, and she helped you through it just by being around and hanging out? You just said, like, we were hanging out. So maybe speaking isn't even there yet. Maybe it's just hanging out. Just to have a place where you feel welcomed and accepted and you belong.
Right.
And then the third step is the personal development and the growth, which that speaking definitely comes in. Whatever you're going to speak about. How to go from being dyslexic to reading 50 books a year. That's pretty cool. Like a lot of people could learn from that.
Yeah.
Right? But at the beginning, when somebody's in the hole, they don't want to hear that. Like when somebody has no hope, they don't want to hear about a great life that they can build. They're too lost to hear the message. You have to first get them up to ground level, and then you can build something.
Right.
And so for you, getting them up to ground level is listening and then creating an environment where they feel accepted.
And that's something that is time consuming. And so to start off, how would I be able to stay, because going back to the finance part,
Yep.
because my wife and I are financially struggling, how do we start with keeping ourselves financially in a spot to where we can pay for our expenses and still do this? Like, is this a way that could potentially make money so that I can drop a job on the side
Yeah.
where I can 100% focus on it?
Not yet, but yes. This model is built to scale. This model's like what I do. I help entrepreneurs at scale. And so you just look at your Instagram thing, for example. If you start building up your account and you start getting a lot of attention for it, you could sell advertising against it. So, Kids Help Phone is sponsored by somebody, right? Or, in Canada we have a helpline that people can call into, and it's sponsored by the biggest telecommunications company, Bell Canada, when they sponsor it, right? So you find organizations that care about this, and they'll sponsor you, right? And you can put their logo on it. That helps fund you and be able to quit your job or one of your jobs and then do this a little bit more. Because it's unlikely that people will pay to do it.
Right.
Because you're talking about people who don't have a lot of money. There's a lot of different paths, but none of it happens without an audience. So your step one is to build an audience. And the good news is it takes time, but it doesn't take money. You don't have to spend any money on this. You just need to make sure I'm getting a post up every day on Instagram with somebody's DM telling me one of their stories and I'm listening.
Yeah. And because of you, I'm glad I have that habit, because I do post every single day. But now I'm more sure what I need to post, because I love this idea and it goes completely with what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I just want to help people, for sure.
And just like we said, you don't have to quit your job to do this. And you don't have to spend any money to do it. And you can build it up, and if you do it well, and you're doing it every day, and you're getting some powerful stories, it'll start to get picked up. And then you start making some money. And to replace a Walmart job, doesn't have to be that much from a sponsorship deal to take one of your jobs off your plate. And now you're getting paid to do this thing. But none of it happens without an audience. So this is the first step to building your audience.
Right.
Cool, man.
Dang. Love it. Freak. Yes.
Good, man. I'm excited. If you want to spend some one-on-one time with me, I have a special offer happening right now. Go check out the website right next to me. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.